Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Talks with Tina, where we are pursuing our most true and authentic self by what? Uncovering our roots. As we all know, it has been a very long time since I last sat and had a chat with you guys. So, this is really just a life update. I'm not going to say that, how I typically do. Oh my gosh, like it's been so long, I missed you all, even though I technically just said that. But I'm not making promises of, well, we're back. No, I'm just giving y'all a life update. This has been, I've said it for quite some time now, but this has been a very interesting season for me. This has been a very eye-opening season, and I was talking over with some friends, and I think if I'm just honest with myself, that this was one of those seasons where you just have to sit, but in your sitting, you realize that you ain't really where you're supposed to be. And that right there is a dagger in itself. And so as I've been sitting with that, as I've been dealing with that, and I've been just like working through these things, I had to be honest. And then I've always like wanted to be sure that what I do with Talks with Tina is always from an authentic place and not from just a performance base. Like I could come up here almost every single day, give you a topic. The Lord still speaks. Let's just clock it there. The Lord still speaks, but I don't ever want to give it in a way of just here's a word, gone about it, and I'm not living through that word. So how do we full circle and make it make sense to your life? I've been living through the word, okay? So as you all know, I've advertised it sometime a while back that I was hosting a retreat, that I will be hosting a retreat. And it's called the Get Well Retreat, Mind, Body, Soul, and Spirit. And in that time, like I really saw the word come into fruition and like how the Lord was dealing with me through that word. And I was like, ooh, get well soon. Like the Lord was literally getting me together, mind, body, soul, and spirit. But with that, I think as the years go on with Talks with Tina, that I am more in a space of like, oh, like we are healing. We are healing. I've come to a level of maturity. I've come to a level of spiritual maturity that I know how to sit with things now, and then I know how to deal with things. But then it comes to a point that I had to like realize what the whole point of Talks with Tina was. And the Lord just really checked me on that. It was like, Talks with Tina, your videos were never at a point of completion. Like when I would get up here and do videos, I would literally have fresh revelation download to my mind. I'm like, oh, that's a good topic. Do the research, and then obviously I'm living it out. And so for this particular season of my life, I really just got in my mind that things needed to be completed in order for it to be satisfactory. And that's rude. But in order for it to be satisfactory, and what I'm coming to realize, and what the Lord just really had to check me on, is just like, no, I'm walking through this with you. And what I did not want to present, and what I had already been dealing with, was like that perfectionist mindset, and really coming out of that perfectionist mindset. But I got back into it, and I was like, no, like it has to be good. It has to be good. Like I want people to see the finished product of how the Lord did walk through with me through that particular process, through that season. And I really missed the point where we connect with people. Like I connected with everyone through our similarities and through our, stories of how, wow, that's something I've been dealing with, or wow, that's something that I've experienced before. And I miss it. Like that's the end all be all, is I miss it. And I really had to get to the point where I understood what it was all about. That's a question I've asked myself a lot here recently. Like, what is it all for? What is it about? Who do you do it for? What is your why? And, my why is the Lord. God called me to this over 4 years now, about 4 years now, that we've been on this journey together, that we've been really walking it out. But what is it all for? Is to continuously see others be healed, transformed, delivered from their trauma, their past, their roots that are trying to keep them stagnant. And I think that's just a life update, is that it's not a rebrand, it's not a refresh. I don't need any of those things. It's just really getting back to the main point of it all, and understanding why God gave me Talks with Tina. And so this is just my heart. I'm pouring out my heart to y'all. Then I guess I'll get to the nitty gritty of what we've been dealing with. Whew, Jesus. But the heart of it is that I really just needed to get back to the center of what this is all about. And Talks with Tina is such a safe space for me. It is one of my greatest joys. It's a pleasure. It's an honor, truly, to be able to do this. And yes, it's just me yapping my lips, but I get to yap my lips and tell everybody about like what the Lord is doing. And my friend gave me a reminder. She was like, when you started this, none of us knew what you were doing. She was like, but we support it, and we understood that God was calling you to this. And so that's what we knew. And so that's the gist of it. I feel like in order to move transparently and to just always be honest, is that like I got into a season where I feel like I got caught in the crowd of it has to be perfect, it has to be done, instead of when I tell and preach to people all the time, work with what you have. And so this is me working with what I have and understanding. I ain't bring no fancy lights, none. We got this little ghetto little makeshift tripod. It's not a makeshift, it's actually a tripod, but it's so small. But I didn't do any of the lights because I really had to get back to understanding the simplicity of it all. And how God really can perform so many miracles and wonders with just the simple things. And so that's the chat on that. Anywho, top of the morning, how about let's do a life check-in, y'all. For the longest, I told y'all, and I think many of the last few videos, I would really say over the last year, majority of my videos have been about my relationships and friendships with people, and how the Lord was shifting that and really understanding like you outgrow certain spaces and you have to move through certain things. And am I seeing the end of that particular season? Yes, but have I ended that season? No. And I'm actively still going through it, but I can come to y'all in the going through, in the learning process, to just yap about what I've been going through. And so here it is. This is not a yap session about like, oh my gosh, like I'm not dumping this on y'all. It is really what the Lord has highlighted to me in this time of being so stuck in this one phase. Like it's a prolonged lesson, but I'm grateful for it now that I am gaining the wisdom, as opposed to when I was just hurt by it and just like, oh my gosh, like people are so weird. Like y'all, I've dealt with a lot of weird things, okay? But as I was journeying through with friends, like I've learned how to pray on a different level. I've learned how to seek God in a way that I would not to say I wouldn't do, but as it pertained to people, like usually when I get hurt by a situation, like I retract and I go on about my business. But this time I've learned to retract, understand why I stayed, why I dealt with certain hurts, and why I couldn't let certain things go. But right now, I've learned how to pray for people in a way that it doesn't leave me in a place of bitterness. I'm not praying like, Lord, they forgive them, and as you forgive me, like that's a typical prayer of mine. But it's like praying for people in the sense of just like, I want to forget it, so Lord, I'm gonna pray for them because I know that's the right thing to do. No, I truly learned how to pray for people, so that God can still, like, God, it doesn't negate how God operates in their life. Like these people are God's children too. But I think when we sincerely pray for people, pray for their well-being, pray for their life, pray that God continues to work in supernatural ways in their life, not excluding the fact that they are God's children too, but including the fact that they are just like you. They are God's children as well. And so I've learned how to do that, and it really has put me at a level of peace. Like it's not, I don't rehearse things anymore because I really laid it at the feet of Jesus, and I'm just like, Lord, these are your people. So I think if we're just being honest, like one of the main things I've dealt with in this particular season is my friendships and relationships. And one thing that the Lord reminded me of very clearly here recently is that it's always been me and him. Not one of those like, it's just me and God, like I only focus on me and God. And that really is the truth. But I think when you're desiring, I always say this, like sometimes your desires speak louder than God. And when you have a desire, it becomes the forefront of what you do. And so my desire was friendship, kingdom friendship. Like that was something I was like, oh my gosh, like we all read the Bible, we go to conferences together, we go to church, we do things, we do life together, right? And it's done the right way. And I have truly loved the people and the women that I've encountered during this time. Even those that are, that I'm no longer connected with. It's just one of those that I'm just like, my desire for friendship in that area has been a point of distraction. Let me put it that way. Has been a point of distraction for me, to the point of, I'm dropping things like I could be in the middle of shooting a talk to Tina, but then I'll be like, oh, top of the morning, what's up with y'all? Like, because I give people my undivided attention, but it comes to a point where at some point you lose you. And I think Talks with Tina, we know it's birthed from a breakup, but then you start to see some of those similarities in the relationships and friendships that you have. You lose yourself. You lose your sense of you, like your sense of self, when you are constantly putting people forward. And I really have to be honest with myself, is that I lost me in this for the sake of like, well, sure, this is what God would want me to do. But I think if we are honest, if we are honest, we have to stop putting things on God that he has never called us to do. Okay, so there are definitely some areas where the Lord will have me reach out to people, call people, text them, and see how they're doing, all the above. But then there are other times where the Lord is telling me to pull back. You need to focus on what I'm asking you to do. Focus on what I'm asking you to do, then you'll be all right. Like, I got them. But instead, the helper's complex come in and you're like, no, but like, who else will they talk to? Jesus, okay? Like, they will talk to Jesus about it. But I say all that to say is that as I'm moving in a healthier mindset with this and shifting towards the understanding of what this particular season has taught me, I have to not be so shy to talk about the pains of it all, right? Like, people have definitely done me dirty in this time. Like, if I could be honest, like, there's definitely been some things that in my friendships and relationships that I've overlooked, and then I tried to, wash through the water of like, oh no, it's like, like they just didn't understand. It's like the spirit working in them, like, like, and all those things can be true. However, when you are really just, when you're understanding yourself healing, I always have to get back to the basis of what this is all about. Yes, my relationship with Jesus is real tight, but how the Lord has given me talks to Tina is we talk about healing. And so if I'm talking about the healing in the practical sense of it all, is that you have to acknowledge where you've been done wrong, because if you don't, you mask. Like, it's constant masking of, and I dare I say spiritual masking of, the Lord fights my battles, and I'll move past this because the Lord is my strength. Again, all of these things are true, and that is truly where I found solace. But we can mask our emotions by a false sense of spiritual overtaking, if that makes sense. So again, I can say all these feel good things about how the Lord is my strength, but not believe it. So let me make clarity to that, is that I truly know that the Lord is my strength. I know that the Lord fights my battles, but there's no faith attached to that to know that God will do those things. When you are in the midst of trying to appease people, and when you are trying to get people to like you, let's put it that way. So I do know the Lord is my strength. I do know that he fights our battles. I do know that he goes before me. But in the deep depths of my heart, I did not believe that, because what I tried to do was be my own strength. What I tried to do was fight my own battles. What I tried to do was go before me. You know what I mean? I tried to go ahead and was like, no, Lord, I'll make the crooked path straight. Like, that's how loony this got, because you, at some point, you just feel like, Lord, do I really need to take this to you? Because, like, you already warned me about this. You told me about it. And yeah. And so when you don't want to face the reality of, I know what I should be doing, and I know what the Lord has spoken to me, and I know what my heart desires and what my heart needs, you kind of ignore all the red flags, right? So how do we full circle this and make it make sense to your life yet again? There's no full circle, because this was just a life update. Let me catch y'all up with what's been going on. But I'm back, and I'm back with the sense of knowing again what my why is, and why my heart is always so at peace, sitting here yapping to myself. Everybody else say, like, you really just sit and talk to the camera? I do. And that's just what it is. And so I will title this video, if anything, what I'm learning. And what I'm learning is to have peace in the letting go. What I'm learning is that some seasons are so necessary. And even if it's prolonged, I always say, like, I'd rather have this lesson now than to be 20 years down the line and having it at like a crash course. And it's just like, well, you could have avoided that if you would have heeded when the Lord told you the first time. But I think I'd rather experience these things now. One, so it's helping me grow. It's helping me understand better. It's helping me discern better. It's helping me love better. But yeah, that's really the chat. Like, I really love this place. I love Talks with Tina, and I don't want to keep throwing y'all in the wind and throwing y'all in the fire and be like, I'm back, now I'm gone. I'm back, now I'm gone. I'm back, now I'm gone. So if we do a refresh of anything, it's a refresh of just not coming from a place of perfection. Oh, like, girl, not coming from a place of perfection, but a place of learning. And that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years, is learning just how to be all that God has called me to be, but also learn to be the version that he knows. We have Jeremiah 1, before I formed you, I knew you. So there's a version of us that God knows already. And so through our life and through our traumas, we lose sight of who that is. And then we get to learn who God created us to be through understanding more of who he is. And so if I'll leave y'all with anything, ask the Lord for help. That's the chat. Love y'all. Bye.